and Levy counties and offers more than 60 academic programs. Earn a certificate, associate, or bachelor's degree. With Florida's 2+2 program, a student can complete an associate in arts at CF and be guaranteed admission to a state of Florida university. CF is ranked number 13 in the U.S. for affordability, is military friendly, and offers a full student life experience. Make CF your first choice. Call 352-873-5800. Here is your 1-minute news brief from the source WOCA. Governor Rick Scott visited the Volusia County city of Ponce Inlet yesterday to sign Ponce's Law, which ups the penalties for animal cruelty and allows the judge to ban pet ownership. Elections supervisors are warning residents that an official-looking registration mailer being sent out is not from any government agency. Survivors of the Pulse nightclub massacre in Orlando have filed a federal lawsuit against Google, Facebook, and Twitter, claiming they helped spread terrorist propaganda. Tens of thousands of vintage aviation fans are expected to descend on the Space Coast Regional Airport this weekend for the Space Coast Warbird Air Show. Universal is building a resort called Endless Summer. It'll be on the grounds of the former Wet n Wild attraction. And Ocala will be buzzing this evening as Mayor Kent Gwynn welcomes home Ocala Olympians Joey Mantilla, Aaron Jackson, and bronze medalist Brittany Bowe as a kickoff to the First Friday Art Walk. And that is your news brief from The Source.
Each morning, we wake up thankful to live in a free nation with liberty and justice for all. But sometimes those liberties can be put in jeopardy, and you may have questions about what to do or who to call. Let Doc Blanchard of Blanchard, Miriam, Adele, and Kirkland help you find the answers. Attorneys at law since 1974 and located in downtown Ocala. If you have legal issues, don't go it alone. Call 352-732-7218. Blanchard, Miriam, Adele, and Kirkland, helping protect your liberties every day.
Why not serve a delicious, intimate, and very easy dinner from Honey Baked Ham of Ocala? They have about the best ham produced ever, and turkey breast or beef pot roast or pork roast.
I thought they just served whole or half hams or turkeys that you picked up at Thanksgiving or Christmas.
They have so much more. They have a cafe and do all kinds of hot and cold catering. They'll do most of the work while you get all of the credit.
Where are they?
Southwest 27th Avenue, right behind Best Buy. Give them a call at 861-0011.
Are you or someone you know looking for a new career in healthcare? Is the cost of training preventing you from taking that next step? Palm Garden of Ocala can help. We will pay all tuition and exam fees, plus a bonus to you on completion of the class, and another bonus on completion of a successful orientation. For more information, stop by Palm Garden or call 352-854-6262. That's 854-6262.
Tired of looking at stained carpets, dirty tile, or grout? Call Silverback Restoration, 414-5312. Make your flooring look great again. Stains, pet odors, allergies. Call Silverback Restoration, 414-5312. From serving our country to serving our community. Silverback Restoration, 414-5312. Residential and commercial. Their work is guaranteed along with your satisfaction. Check their website, silverbackrestoration.com.
There are only a few things in life that you can be certain will always be around. Death, taxes, the pursuit of happiness, and computers. As they continue to advance at an epic pace, the one absolute certainty about them is that they'll break. It's not an if, it's a when. And when it happens, bring it to the only company in Ocala that's certified in Apple and Microsoft, Ocala Mac and PC Repair. They even offer on-site computer repair service, so they come to you. And if you do drop it off, you can check your repair status online. Ocala Mac and PC Repair is a family-owned and operated company that can do everything from mobile repair to wireless networks, fixing viruses, data recovery, even building and installing new systems. Visit online at ocalamacpc.com. In person, 1713 East Silver Springs Boulevard, or give them a call, 352-566-8324. That's 352-566-8324. Ocala Mac and PC Repair. We all know that sound means there's going to be some need for collision repair work, and soon. What you may not know is that it's your choice where to have that collision work done, not the other guy's insurance company. Because your vehicle is much more than just transportation. It's like a family member. So don't bring it to just any chain collision center. Bring it to Lyle's Collision Service. When it comes to getting your vehicle back to 100%, you can count on Lyle's Collision Service. They're not some fly-by-night chain company. They're a family-owned and run collision center with over 33 years of experience. Working with collision repairs and vehicle restoration, Lyle's Collision only uses quality parts and doesn't take shortcuts like some other companies. They take pride in getting the job done right and in a timely manner. They specialize in insurance claims and they strive to get your vehicle back to you as soon as possible. So the next time you hear this, remember, it's your choice. And the choice is clear. Lyle's Collision Service.
The weather is brought to you by myfwc.com. Safe boating is no accident. On this Friday, mostly sunny and warm with a high of 80 on the coast, 86 inland. Friday night, clear to partly cloudy and mild, lows in the 60s. Saturday will be breezy and warm with sunshine and some clouds. There can be a late day shower or thunderstorm, but dry along the coast. The high 81 at the coast, 88 inland. Sunday, mostly cloudy and cooler with a shower and thunderstorm around, highs in the 70s to low 80s. From the Florida Weather Center, I'm meteorologist Joe Lundberg.
Broadcasting from the Paddock Mall Studios, this is WOCA, Ocala, Gainesville, The Villages, 1370 AM, 96.3 FM, The Source.
All right, 7 minutes after 10 o'clock. Thank you for tuning in this Friday morning. It is Friday. Holy mackerel. We don't have a guest on the phone, but I wanted to tell you a little bit about the book that we will be talking about if the guest calls in. If not, then just want to tell you about a book. It's a book called Saudi Incorporated, The Arabian Kingdom's Pursuit of Profit and Power. And the preparation material that was sent to us, gosh, it makes you really scratch your head when it comes to the world of money and the world, period. It's just, most of us just try to do our jobs. Most of us just try to understand, okay, this is what I'm willing to do. Looks like the phone is ringing right now. Let me go straight to the phone. Is this our guest, Dr. Wald? We're already on the air. I couldn't do any pre-conversation. Good morning. Is this Dr. Wald? Probably.
Yes, hello.
Probably. Oh, yeah. Good morning, doctor. How are you?
I'm good.
Good. My name is Larry. My partner's name is Rob, and she's here. And the reason we didn't have any pre-interview is because we were running late, so we had to get on the air. But thank you for calling in. I was looking at the information. Your book is called Saudi Incorporated. And let me just properly introduce you. This is Dr. Ellen R. Wald. She's an energy industry expert, a Middle East expert. The book, well, I don't have the whole book, but I have the information that was sent to me. And it really makes you wonder about the world we live in. Most of us just try to do a good job and, bring home a paycheck. And we just kind of assume that the powers that be that are above us, depending on where we are in any corporation, are, treating everything from their point down with fairness. But this corporation, the Saudi, called the Al Saud, what do they call it, Ellen?
Well, the royal family is called Al Saud, and the company that they own, the National Oil Company of Saudi Arabia, is called Aramco.
Oh, okay, Aramco, and they are a family company, and they want to go public.
So Saudi Aramco is the National Oil Company of Saudi Arabia, and the royal family of Saudi Arabia is thinking of taking them public, doing an initial public offering, which would be the largest IPO of all time. Yeah, it sure would. So the question I have is, usually when a company goes public, it's to raise money, so they have some capital to work with, and they let everybody else have a little piece of the action in return. Why does this company need to go public? Well, that's a great question. They don't really need to go public. They don't need to go public to raise money. They are a very profitable company on their own. But one of the reasons that the royal family wants to take them public has to do with the overall changes going on in Saudi Arabia. And they're looking to diversify their economy away from oil, away from just oil. Oh, okay. And by going public, does that give them leverage of some sort? Well, it gives them money to invest in other businesses and to diversify along all different kinds of industries. And the oil company itself is also looking forward to having some more capital to expand its downstream operations. That means refining capabilities, petrochemicals, making plastics, for example.
Okay. Money is only as useful as the people you're paying, right? And so does somebody like this, it sounds like a lot of the rules that are associated, and I'm basing this on the little 5 sheets of paper we were sent. It sounds like a lot of the rules that are, I guess, part of the governance of the company are rules that you and I might not consider fair. Is that accurate? Is that a good way to say that?
Well, are you referring to some of the more stringent laws governing women, governing religion in Saudi Arabia?
Yeah, and the people who work for this company.
So one of the really interesting things, and I learned this when I visited the company in November, is that all of these laws that we associate with Saudi Arabia, like women having to wear black abayas and cover their hair and not being able to drive, don't apply in the company. The company feels like an American company. Women are dressed fashionably just like they would in any other circumstance. They don't have to wear abayas. Many don't. They don't necessarily wear head coverings. They work alongside men, with men. I met an incredible woman who designs robots along with a team of other men and women together. And women drive on the campus. In fact, it looks just like an American suburb.
Oh, wow. Okay, so maybe I misunderstood. So that sounds like a good thing then. If when you see a family becoming so powerful, I mean, you have to wonder if it's not possible that they could literally take over the world.
Well, I don't think they're trying to take over the world here, but they're certainly trying to expand the reach of their company. And Aramco is actually Aramco owns the largest refinery in the United States, believe it or not. And they own assets all over the world, in many places that we wouldn't necessarily think that they have expanded to.
Okay.
So you also said that the company is very mysterious in our notes.
Yes. Well, one of the interesting things is that we haven't known very much about this company, this giant oil company, because they have been very private and very secretive about how much oil they have, for example, and what they're doing and where they're going. And one of the things that's interesting with this IPO is they're going to have to make that all public. And so we may find out just how much oil Saudi Arabia really has.
Oh, okay. The book is doing really well, by the way. I don't know if you've checked it this morning. I just went to Amazon, and it's #1 in the oil and energy industry category. It's brand new. 3 days ago? Just 3 days ago it came out? Is that right?
Yeah, just came out.
And it's #3 in the Islamic banking and finance category, #12 in the oil and energy category, and #15 in the Saudi Arabia category. That's pretty good. I mean, there are tons of books out there on all of these topics, and to right out of the gate to be getting this kind of attention. Are you surprised with the way this is being received? It seems like it's getting received really well. Not only is it #1, but you're getting some good reviews as well.
Well, I think that Saudi Arabia has really been in the news a lot recently. The Crown Prince of Saudi Arabia has been in the United States for the past couple of weeks, and he's drummed up a lot of attention, and that certainly helped people notice the book. They want to learn more about this place and about these people who are clearly getting out into the world and spending a lot of money.
Oh, you had said earlier that the women work alongside the men, and one woman is using the robot technology. That means that she has had to have a very good education. Is this going out into the other areas of Saudi Arabia, encouraging young women to get an education from an early age?
Aramco has always been a leader in Saudi Arabia in terms of education, both for men and for women. Saudi Aramco actually will identify talented youth in high school, and they will bring them to the campus for extra education, particularly in English language. They will help them apply to colleges. Often in the United States, they get into all sorts of engineering programs, and then they come back and work for the company. And Saudi Arabia has actually adopted a similar program where, for a while, if any Saudi student got accepted to an American college, or a European university, the government would pay for their scholarships, and this included men and women. Sometimes the women had some restrictions on whether they could go. They needed the approval of their family if they could go to the United States to study. But the Saudi government was paying for both men and women to get higher educations. And actually in Saudi Arabia, more women have degrees in higher education than men.
Oh, my.
Now, the other day there was a Saudi prince, and I don't know that it has anything to do with the group you're talking about, but he said something that I guess astounded a lot of people, and that was that we need to start recognizing the state of Israel. Tell me about that. Is that whole notion that they don't even want to recognize Israel as a nation, is that starting to change finally?
One of the interesting things about the Saudi state, and you're referring to Crown Prince Mohammed bin Salman, who he's not the king, but he is the kind of heir apparent to the Saudi throne. Okay. And the Saudis have always been a very pragmatic people. They're much more interested in making money and in securing their power than they have been in having any sort of religious or ideological conflicts. And that's, I think, where we're seeing this new language towards the state of Israel, that the Saudis realize that Iran is a big problem for them, and Iran is a big problem for Israel. And they see a possibility for them to work together. And so they're softening their language towards Israel because they do see a benefit in working together.
In one of the reviews, if I could read one of the reviews, says this: Saudi Inc. should be mandatory reading for anyone planning to do business in Saudi Arabia. Those of us who have spent years studying the kingdom are often saddled with the dilemma of explaining its complexity. Ellen Wald has done a masterful job of taking you inside the boardrooms and the royal chambers, the competing interests and personalities. And then it goes on, it's very, very complimentary of the work that you've done. It sounds like from this, if you are already very familiar with boardrooms and corporate America, that this will be necessary information to expand to Saudi Arabia, or the description you gave earlier, I'm just curious about this, the description you gave earlier sounded like you would fit right in. You've already experienced it, and it's really not that different than what we do here.
Well, the way that the oil company works is very similar to how American companies work, precisely because its origins were with American companies. It was actually in the 1930s and 1940s, several American oil companies who established the Aramco company in Saudi Arabia, and it was only much later that the Saudis bought it out. And the Saudis maintained a lot of the American ways of management, style of management, and so I think if people were to go there, they'd find it very similar to an American company.
Even though the offering is until fall of this year, does this company have a listing of people that want to invest, that want to buy the stock?
Well, they certainly have gotten a lot of interest from some Chinese interests, and they are not yet decided which exchanges they're going to offer shares on. It could be the London Stock Exchange, could be the New York Stock Exchange. They haven't made that decision yet.
If the world at large makes a shift from energy coming from fossil fuels to energy coming from something else, how does that affect all of these companies that seem to be basing their success on fossil fuels?
Good question.
Yeah. Well, there are a couple answers to that. The first is that some of these companies are already beginning to shift towards more different sources of energy, more natural gas, which technically is a fossil fuel, but is significantly cleaner than coal or oil. They're beginning to invest in solar power and in wind power and in other kinds of renewable energies. So they see themselves as energy companies first and foremost, not just oil companies.
Which is smart.
But on the other hand, oil and gas are also very, very important for making plastics. And plastics, as we know, go into everything today.
Right.
So even if we stop fueling our cars or our electrical grid on fossil fuels, we're still going to need those substances to make plastics.
Right. Yeah, and see, I've thought this for a while now, and I'm hoping that the powers that be are thinking this way too, because if fossil fuels are finite, and everything indicates that it is, that it eventually would run out, then we'd be in a lot of trouble if we just stopped using it in our cars. And I'm not I don't know what to think about any of the theories about global warming. I guess I'll just believe what other people tell me because I do a radio show. I'm not a scientist. But here's the truth. If fossil fuels are finite and they will run out and we need them for plastics and pharmaceuticals, by the way, then having an alternative like wind or solar that can run our homes and our cars would make sense, and leave the fossil fuels for the other things, the plastics, etc.
Yeah, and I tend to be an optimist when it comes to these things. I'm not convinced now that the renewable technologies that we have right now, or the electric vehicle technologies, are the best that they can be. But I am an optimist, and I do think that we're very innovative people, and we will find innovations and develop technologies that will make these renewable fuels and these electric cars and batteries. We'll find ways to make them the best that they can be.
Yeah.
And so I do believe that will come.
Well, I'm glad to hear you say that. Obviously, you studied it more than me, but I feel that way too. I feel like as people, we've always seemed to figure out how to fix the problem when we created one.
Mm-hmm.
So.
Is this company going to improve the physical landscape of the area? Are they going to try to improve it so much that they can become self-sufficient in their own right on farming and things like that, and get rid of the desolation and try to make it more vegetation where they can feed their people?
You know, they are definitely involved in agriculture in areas of Saudi Arabia. One of the things that the company is very involved in is preservation of wildlife. And in fact, they have a very large oil facility out in what's called the Empty Quarter, which is this incredible expanse of desert with these huge red sand dunes. It's very, very beautiful, very desolate, but still very beautiful. And they've created a sanctuary, an animal sanctuary there, and actually reintroduced some of the indigenous species that had left. And so they're very conscious of the environment and the natural terrain around them.
So tell me where you have been. Have you been to some of the things we see in the news over in Saudi Arabia, the amazing like domed water parks and things like that? Have you been to any of these things?
You know, when I was in Saudi Arabia, I was there on business, and so I didn't really have an opportunity to be a tourist all that much. So I've never been to the domed water parks, but I have been to Riyadh, and I have been to Dhahran, which is where the oil company is located. Unfortunately, I didn't have a chance to do much touring, but the city is really incredible. They've got some absolutely insane architecture when it comes to high-rises and skyscrapers.
What is the oldest building? They're all really new, aren't they?
Yeah, all those buildings are very new, though there is a very old fort that's in Riyadh that I actually write about in my book, in the very beginning of my book, when the man who would become the first king of Saudi Arabia, he was actually a refugee. His family had been kicked out of their home, and he was a refugee in Kuwait. And in the very beginning of the story, he takes some of his buddies and some local tribes who have banded with him, and he goes to basically reconquer this tiny mud-walled city of Riyadh, and the fort that they conquer is still standing there today. This, I think, took place in the early 1900s.
Is that right? Wow. But for the most part, I mean, these are amazingly new. It's not like, I mean, New York is relatively new compared to London, for example.
Yeah.
But you know, it's been a couple hundred years. Saudi Arabia is like what, 30 years maybe? I mean, how long have they been building?
Well, the kingdom was founded officially in 1932, but they really didn't start to build up their modern city until the 40s and the 50s. They actually invited an American construction and engineering firm, Bechtel, to come in, and Bechtel did a lot of the initial construction of buildings in Riyadh and in Jeddah, two of their biggest cities. And even later, I think Bechtel's actually building they're building a new metro system there, and Bechtel's building it.
Wow. Are we falling behind as Americans? Do we need to up our game a little bit? So I don't know that we necessarily have to keep up with the Joneses, but what is your answer to that? Do you think we should pick up our game a little bit based on what you see other people doing?
Well, America can always pick up its game, but I think we're doing pretty well.
How about the ISIS movement and things? Are they afraid that they might come in to try to terrorize that area?
They're definitely concerned about terrorism from ISIS and from other sources. Terrorism, and particularly this Islamic terrorism, is something that the ruling family of Saudi Arabia abhors. They see it as a threat to their own rule, and they have made a lot of strides in recent years to try to wipe it out. But they definitely are not interested in seeing ISIS expand. They'd like it to be ended.
Dr. Ellen Wald, it's an honor to have you on our show. The book is called Saudi Inc. I found it on Amazon. Do you have a website?
I do, ellenrwald.com, and you can visit me there. You can write to me.
Okay, ellenrwald.com. Ellen, thank you for Doctor, I should say. Thank you for being on the show with us today. Really insightful. I don't know that I've ever met anybody who has such knowledge of Saudi Arabia as you have expressed in just these 25 minutes, let alone what the book probably holds.
Thank you for having me.
You're welcome. All right, we will take a little break. We'll be right back. Here is your 1-minute news brief from the source WOCA. Governor Rick Scott visited the Volusia County city of Ponce Inlet yesterday to sign Ponce's Law, which ups the penalties for animal cruelty and allows a judge to ban pet ownership. Elections supervisors are warning residents that an official-looking registration mailer being sent out is not from any government agency. Survivors of the Pulse nightclub massacre in Orlando have filed a federal lawsuit against Google, Facebook, and Twitter, claiming they helped spread terrorist propaganda. Tens of thousands of vintage aviation fans are expected to descend on the Space Coast Regional Airport this weekend for the Space Coast Warbird Air Show. Universal is building a resort called Endless Summer. It'll be on the grounds of the former Wet n Wild attraction. And Ocala will be buzzing this evening as Mayor Kent Gwynn welcomes home Ocala Olympians Joey Mantilla, Aaron Jackson, and bronze medalist Brittany Bowe as a kickoff to the first Friday Art Walk. And that is your news brief from The Source.
The very best in quality is Captain T's upholstery.
Is that couch cushion sinking lower every time you sit in it? Does your boat